Okay, so good morning, class, and welcome to your updates in financial reporting and standards. Today, we'll discuss about employee benefit cost. So, post-employment benefits, these are benefits that are payable after completion of employment. So, we'll be going to discuss and differentiate defined contribution plan and defined benefit plan. So, let's first discuss defined contribution plan. Defined contribution plan, the entity pays a fixed contribution to another separate entity known as a fund. Once the entity pays the contribution, such entity has no further obligation in case the fund is insufficient to pay the employee benefits. Therefore, the employee bears the investment risk. So the obligation of the entity is up to uh, paying only the contribution. No? Usually, there are no actuarial assumptions. Now, on the other hand, defined benefit plan, this is where the entity's obligation is to pay the agreed benefits to employees. And since the employee's benefit is guaranteed, the entity must additionally contribute to the fund if the assets are insufficient to pay such benefits. Therefore, under the defined benefit plan, entity assumes the investment risk, and there are usually actuarial assumptions in the defined benefit plan. No? So don't worry, class. No? So later on, as you know, we're just completing the theoretical part, and then later on, we'll apply it to different discussion problems. Okay. So defined benefit costs. So this includes service costs, which are recognized in the profit or loss. So what are the different types of service costs? So we have current service costs, past service costs, and any gains or losses on settlement. Net interest, which we're also going to recognize in profit or loss. So these are the interest expense on projected benefit obligation, the interest income on plan assets, and the interest expense on effect of asset ceiling. No? So these are all booked under the employment benefit expense. So remeasurements. No? So whenever there are remeasurements, we recognize it in the other comprehensive income. So remeasurement on plan asset. So the difference between the actual return on plan asset and the interest income. So again, any difference between the actual return on plan assets and interest income, we recognize it in the OCI. Now, the remeasurement on the PBO, or the projected benefit obligation, the actuarial gains and losses on the projected benefit obligation, and the remeasurement on the effect of asset ceiling, or the change in the in effect of asset ceiling excluding the interest component. So all of these remeasurements on plan assets, on PBO, or the projected benefit obligation, and the effect of asset ceiling are all recognized in the other comprehensive income. Okay, now let's go over the projected benefit obligation and the fair value of plan assets. No? So PBO, or the projected benefit obligation, this is the present value of all benefits to employee service rendered. This is based on future compensation level or future increase. On the other hand, fair value of plan assets, this is the source of fund. This is available only to pay employee benefits. No, now these are the rule. No, if the present benefit obligation is greater than the fair value of plan assets, the difference is recognized as accrued benefit cost or pension liability, and we categorize it as a non-current liability. O, to class, don't forget about this. Now, on the other hand, if the fair value of plan assets, or your FVPA, is greater than the uh, projected benefit obligation, the difference is recognized as prepaid benefit cost, surplus, or pension asset. And again, this is now categorized as non-current asset. Okay, class? So ulitin natin yan. No? But like I said, later on, we'll cover all this theoretical part and apply it into different discussion problems, no? So that we can reinforce our understanding. No? So if present value, if the projected benefit obligation is greater than your fair value of planned assets or FBPA, the difference is recognized as accrued benefit cost or pension liability. Pag naman FBPA is greater than your PBO, we categorize or recognize it as prepaid benefit cost. Okay, so let's go to different discussion problems. No, so what we're going to do is let's look at the requirements first. No, so for problem one, we have 5 requirements. No, so what is the employee benefit expense for the current year? Number two, what is the net measurement for the current year? 3, what is the fair value of planned assets at year end? Number 4, what is the projected benefit obligation at year end? And finally, what amount should be reported as accrued or benefit cost at year end? No? So gagawin natin class, we'll introduce some templates, no? So that it will be easier for you to solve problems on employee benefit costs. No? So at the beginning of the current year, an entity provided the following information in connection with a defined benefit plan. So we have the fair value of assets, less the projected benefit obligation. So we have accrued benefit cost of 3 million pesos. The entity revealed the following transactions affecting the plan for the current year. So we have the current service cost, 2.5 million. Past service costs, remaining vesting period of covered employees is 5 years, 1.2 million. So we have the contribution to the plan, 4.5 million. Benefits paid to retirees, so we have 3 million. Actual return on plan assets, 1.5 million. Discount or settlement rate, 10%. Expected return on plan assets, 12%. So class, let's go to problem 1. Open ko lang yung... Okay, so ganun ang gagawin ulit natin. So we'll introduce templates and then let's go to the different requirements later on. No? So if you're being asked to compute for employee benefit expense, so the template, so this is the standard, no? So this should be included. Remember, in our discussion earlier, balikan ko lang to. I placed here what should be included as part of the employee benefit expense. No? So we have service costs and net interest. So now, we're going to apply it in problem 1. Ang gagawin natin, we'll introduce a template. No? So again, for employee benefit expense, sabi natin, we have to include our current service costs, our past service costs, and the interest element. No? So interest expense, less the interest income, no? So that we can compute for the total employee benefit expense. No? So pag-usapan muna natin yung template. Now, we have the actual return on plan asset, and then we're comparing it to our interest income so that we can compute for the remeasurement gain or loss on our plan asset. No? So that's also part of our discussion earlier. Now, in terms of computing your defined benefit costs, it's just the total employee expense, employee benefit expense, plus or less, plus the remeasurement loss, less any remeasurement gain recognized in OCI. No? Okay, sige. Now, let's apply it to problem number 1. So, kunin lang muna natin class. So, current service cost, how much? 2.5 million. So, that's given. Next, past service cost also given for 1.2 million. Now let's calculate for our interest expense. Interest expense, it's simply your projected benefit obligation of 13 million multiplied by the discount or settlement rate of 10%. So we get 1.3 million pesos. For interest income naman, it will be the fair value of the planned assets. That's 10 million multiplied by 10% or the discount or the settlement rate. No? So it's a reduction. So that's 2.5 million plus past service cost of 1.2 million plus the interest expense of 1.3 million less 1 million. So we get the sum. So that's 4 million pesos. That's our employee benefit expense for the year. Now, the actual return on plan assets, so that's 1.5 million, that's also given. Let's compare it to the interest income. Earlier, we have calculated it as fair value of plan assets of 10 million multiplied by the discount or settlement rate of 10%. So we get 1 million pesos. No? So the difference, that's the remeasurement. No? So in this case, it's a gain. No? So the actual return on plan assets is 1.5. The interest income is just 1 million. No? So the difference of 500,000 we have to recognize is it as a gain from plan assets. Okay? Let's continue. No? So the total employee benefit expense is 4 million. So we have calculated that earlier. Less any remeasurement gain in OCI. No? So yan din yung na-compute natin dito sa 500,000. No? So the defined benefit cost would be 3,500,000. Sige. Now let's look at the different requirements. No? So number one, the requirement is what is the employee benefit expense? No? Again, class, we have calculated that earlier. So the answer is 4 million. Pero let's put it into journal entries. No? So when we recognize the employee benefit expense, so we debit 4 million. The prepaid or the accrued benefit cost, in this case, prepaid benefit cost. So paano natin na-compute yan? So we have the contribution of 4.5 million less the defined benefit cost, no? So of 3.5 million. So the difference is positive. So therefore, it's a prepaid benefit cost, no? So also a debit for 1 million pesos, no? So credit cash, and then credit the remeasurement gain on or OCI. So that's the difference between the actual return on plan asset and the interest income. Okay, so here, requirement one, the answer is 4 million. So that's the total employee benefit expense. And the net remeasurement for the current year, it's 500,000 gain. Okay. Okay, so ito ulit, no? So let's look at this in let's introduce another template, no? So for the fair value of planned assets, so we have the beginning balance plus the contribution to the plan plus any interest income plus any remeasurement gain. So obviously if it's a loss, so it's a reduction, and then less any benefits paid to get your fair value of planned assets ending balance. O sige, bago muna yan, let's also look at the template to compute for your projected benefit obligation at year end or your ending balance. No? So we have the projected benefit obligation beginning, add any current service costs, add past service costs, add any interest expense, and then less benefits paid. So you can get the sum, and then that will be your projected benefit obligation at year end. Okay, so let's now try to compute for the fair value of the planned assets at year end. No, so we have the beginning balance of fair value of planned assets. So that's 10 million. Para lang masandan, i-color code ko na lang din. So given yan, Kas. Contribution to the plan also given. So we have 4.5 million. Interest income, ito class, yun yung na-compute natin kanina. Sabi natin, to compute for your interest income, that's simply your fair value of plan assets of 10 million multiplied by the discount or the settlement rate. No? So that's 10 million multiplied by 10%. So that's 1 million pesos. The remeasurement gain, so we have calculated this earlier. Kaya nga importante class that to write legibly, no? Especially when you're taking exam. Ang tip ko palagi is try to write it down, no? And legibly at least, no? In a way that you can still go back to it. No? Kasi chances is kung halimbawa um, kung hindi maayos yung pagkakasulat mo and then here comes requirement 3, that's also connected to the previous calculation, uulit ka, no? So it's total waste of time. No? So in this case, meron tayong kinukuha dito remeasurement gain. So we have to add it 500,000. Kanina, di ba, na-discuss na natin how we have computed for the remeasurement gain. Okay? And then any benefits paid, no? So we have to deduct it, no? So just get the sum. So 10 million plus 4.5 plus 1 million plus 500,000 remeasurement gain less the benefits paid. So we get 13 million. So that's fair value of the plan assets at year end. So 13 million. So that's letter B. So lagay ko nandito para hindi na. Next requirement, projected benefit obligation at year end. So tignan ulit natin yung given. So again, we have introduced this template para at least mas mabilis nga makapag-solve ng problems on the employee benefit cost. No? So we have the projected benefit obligation. Beginning, also given, 13 million. Current service cost, 2.5, also given. Past service cost of 1.2. And then the interest expense, o ito class, na compute na rin natin to kanina, it's simply 13 million or the PBO multiplied by the discount rate. No? So that's 1,300,000. And then less any benefits paid, also given. So that's benefits paid to retirees. So we have 3 million. So just get the sum. So the answer to requirement number 4 is 15 millions or letter B. Tingnan natin ngayon yung what amount should be reported as accrued or prepaid costs at year end. No? So, di ba class, kanina napag-usapan natin, balikan natin yung theory ha, para at least may guide lang. Kunin ko na lang to. Psst, try natin. Sniping tool. Para may guide tayo. No? Lagay ko siya dito so that we can assess. No? Sabi natin dyan, if the projected benefit obligation is greater than your FBPA, the difference is recognized as accrued benefit cost. Now let's check. No? How much is our FBPA? So in this case, we have 13 million. So our PBO is 15 million. So in this case, class, pansinin that the PBO is greater than our FBPA. So therefore, any difference will have to be recognized as accrued benefit cost. No? So 13 million lang yung FBPA natin or yung fair value of plan assets. Yung projected benefit obligation naman natin is 15 million. So the difference is 2 million pesos. That's accrued benefit cost. No? So the answer is letter C. Okay, letter C. Also yun class, be careful. No? So kasi what if na-compute mo nga yung 2 million and you don't know when to recognize it as either accrued or prepaid. No? So, ang tatandaan lang palagi, if your projected benefit obligation is greater than your is greater than your fair value of plan asset, then you have to recognize accrued liability. On the other hand, if your fair value of the plan asset is greater than the projected benefit obligation, so any difference will have to be recognized as prepaid benefit cost. Okay? So, at least, no, problem 1 pa lang, we have already captured all the um, all the concept, no, in employee benefit cost, no. So let's have another problem. Oops. So let's have problem number 2. So again, class, tignan ko lang ulit yung mga requirements, no. So pansinin niyo, class, no. So the way I approach the problem is I usually go to the requirements first. Kasi from there, alam ko na agad kung ano yung mga kailangan kong pick upin from the given data, no. So for problem 2, what are the requirements? Number 1, what amount should be reported as employee benefit expense? So from there, alam ko na may template ako for employee benefit expense. No? So I'll just going to get that template para at least ano lang ako doon, fill in the blanks na lang po, more on puzzle na lang. No? Then, what is the projected benefit obligation? So meron din tayong template dyan. And then the final requirement is what is the fair value of plan assets or FVPA? Again, we have a template that introduced earlier. No? So an entity provided the following information for the current year. So check ko lang baka hindi ako nagre-record. Okay. So we have current service cost 500, past service cost 300, interest cost. Ito na, class, hindi ka na kailangan mag-compute kasi binigay na yung interest cost sa atin. Interest expense is 600,000. We have interest income also provided 350,000. Settlement 1.2, present value of benefit obligations settled in advance 950,000. Actual return on plan assets 850. Actuarial loss 200,000. Contribution to the plan 1.5 million and benefits paid to retirees 1 million pesos. No? So let's have problem number 2. Okay. So for problem number 2, gaya ng sabi ko sa inyo, we're just going to compute for the employee benefit expense. Sabi nga natin, di ba, we have lakayan ko lang to. We have a template for that, no? So for the employee benefit expense, kumpletuhin ko to para at least hindi malito. For the employee benefit expense, we have the current service costs. So it's given 500,000. Sorry. Past service cost 300,000. Loss on settlement, no? Also given. So that's 250,000. Interest costs of 600,000. And then the interest income of 350,000. So the total employee benefit expense would be 1,300,000 or letter A. Next, let's look at the projected benefit obligation at year end. So ito, class, remember, we also have a template. Pero in this case, pansinin, hindi given yung projected benefit obligation natin beginning balance. Pero we have a way to compute for that. Kasi kung naalala mo dun sa problem 1, paano nga natin na kinompute yung interest expense? Diba? Sabi natin, interest expense is simply your PBO multiplied by the discount rate. No? So in this case, class, given yung interest expense, our interest expense is 600,000. Paano nga natin na-compute yung 600,000? So that's your PBO beginning multiplied by the discount rate. No? So in this case, we have to work back. No? So 600,000 interest expense divide by 10% so that we can compute for the beginning balance of your PBO. Okay, so that's 6 million. And then the rest are given na eh. So we have current service costs also given. Past service cost, 300,000 provided in the problem. Interest cost, ito nga yung class, no? So dahil given na, hindi na natin kailangan pa mag-calculate. Actuarial loss also given, 200,000. Present value of the benefit obligation settled. So we have 950,000 deduction. Benefits paid given, benefits paid to retirees, 1 million pesos. No? So just get the sum. So that's letter A, 5,650,000 pesos. And then finally, let's compute for the fair value of plan assets. No? So for the fair value of plan assets, again, hindi ulit given yung beginning balance of our fair value of the plan assets. But remember, sabi natin, yung interest income, we have computed this by getting the beginning balance of the FBPA multiplied by the discount rate. Eh dahil nga provided yung interest income class. So we can work back and get the beginning balance of our FBPA or simply 350,000 over 10%. No? So therefore, our beginning balance for the FBPA is 3,500,000. Contribution to the plan, 1,500,000 given. Actual return, no? So we have 850,000. Settlement payment, so 1,200,000. Benefits paid, so that's 1 million. So just get the sum. So we can now we can get the fair value of plan assets ending, no? So at year end, it's 3,650,000 or letter A. So ito class, merong mga as you know, dun sa problem 1, there are other requirements, no? Hindi na hinanap dito sa problem 2, but just the same, I have provided you the calculation here, no? So for example, uh, how much would be the defined benefit cost, no? So we have the benefit expense of 1,300,000. So in this case, we have to compute, no? So the remeasurement gain on plan assets, so that's 850,000 less 350,000 interest, no? So that's 500,000 less the actuarial loss. So the remeasurement gain that we need to recognize in the OCI is 300,000. So again, this is just a template, no? So total employee benefit expense of 1,300,000 less any remeasurement gain that we have recognized in OCI. So that's less 300,000. The total defined benefit cost would be 1 million pesos. Now, the contribution, total contribution is 1,500,000 less the defined benefit cost. So we have 500,000 prepaid, no? So in this case, this is a prepaid benefit adjustment, no? So if we're going to provide the journal entries, so it will be a debit to benefit expense or employee benefit expense and debit prepaid benefit costs. Alisin mo na yung accrued, no? Kasi ginawa lang yan para at least it's either prepaid or accrued, no? Pag accrued, as you know, it will be on the credit side. Credit cash for 1,500,000 and then credit remeasurement gain for 300,000. Okay? So that's problem number 2. Ayan, class. So at this stage, siguro mas kabisado nyo na ngayon yung template for PBO, no? So let's have problem number 3. The requirement is simply compute for the PBO on December 31. So an entity provided the following information pertaining to the pension plan for the current year. So we have the PBO beginning, 7.2 million. The discount rate is 10%. Tapos ito na, current service cost 1.8, past service cost 1 million. Pension benefits gain paid 1.5 million, actuarial gain of 500,000. So let's have problem number 3. So ito class, sabi ko sa inyo, we have the template. No? So in this case, alisin ko to kasi hindi na to relevant. I just copied the template from earlier. No? So we have the PBO beginning balance. It's given 7.2. Current service cost 1.8 also given. 1 million na past service cost also given. Interest cost. So ito class. Interest cost, paano nga natin kinocompute ang interest cost? That's the PBO beginning multiplied by the discount rate. No? So that's 7.2 million multiplied by 10%. So we get 720,000. Actuarial loss, in this case, it's a gain. So palitan natin to. So if it's a gain, so we have to deduct it. No? So that's 500,000. Present value of benefit obligation settled. So wala. And then we have benefits paid of 1,500,000. So that's also given. No? So just get the sum. So makuha natin dyan is 8,720,000. So that's letter B. Okay? So anong nakikita nyo dito, class? So the more problems that you solve, no? So you can be more familiar now, no, in terms of the different templates that I have introduced to you. So ang ibig sabihin lang nito, try to solve as many problems as you can, no? Kasi paulit-ulit lang naman yan. And again, I have introduced with you some templates so at least you can just play around. Paano yung play around? Ito class, problem number 4. What is the remeasurement gain or loss on planned assets? No? Tignan natin to class, ha? An entity provided the following information for the current year. No? So we have fair value of planned assets. Ayan na, binigay na sa atin yung discount rate. Beginning balance is 3.5, ending is 4.5. No? So parang ito, binigay na agad sa yung ending. Contribution to the plan, so we have 300,000 and the benefits paid to retirees, 600,000. So let's look at number 4. Problem 4. Di ba meron tayong template, no? So we still follow the template. Pero in this case, pansinin, ang tinatanong kasi dito is remeasurement gain or loss. No? Di ba ang template natin will start with the with the fair value of planned assets beginning given 3.5. Given na rin ba yung ending? Yes, given yung ending. So contribution of 300,000 also given. Interest income. So paano yun? That's 3.5 multiplied by 10%. So that's 350,000. Benefits paid to retirees, so minus 600,000. Ito class, ito yung medyo tricky. Alam mo na ang ending is 4.5, di ba meron nga tayong template. So we have to compute how much would be the gain or loss, no? Sabi natin class, di ba, pag if it's a gain, we're adding it. If it's a loss, we are reducing it, no? So paano ngayon ang gagawin natin? So we have to work back. So that's 4,500,000 plus 600,000 less 3,500,000 less 300,000 less 350,000. Makukuha ngayon natin yung 950,000. So in this case, this is 950,000 gain. Okay? So, ayan, para mapatunayan, so we have 4,500,000. Okay? So this is problem number 4. Okay, so let's continue our discussion. So limit of the prepaid benefit cost. The prepaid benefit cost should not exceed the asset ceiling. So what is the asset ceiling? Asset ceiling is the present value of any economic benefits available in the form of refunds from the plan or reductions in future contributions to the plan. The asset to be recognized in the statement of financial position is the prepaid benefit cost per computation or asset ceiling, whichever is lower. So the excess of prepaid benefit costs per computation over the asset ceiling is the effect of the asset ceiling. So the changes in effect of asset ceiling, excluding interest component, are recognized in OCI. Simulan to na. So increase in the effect of the asset ceiling minus the interest component. So that's the loss in OCI. Now, if it's a decrease in the effect of the asset ceiling plus any interest component, so we have the gain in OCI. O, ito class, medyo maraming theory, but again, it will be easy. It will get easier, no, pag meron na tayong mga problems, no? So don't worry about this. Okay. Sige. Let's apply it to problem, another sample problem, no? So the requirements are, number one, what is the employee benefit expense for the current year? So pansinin, no? So what we're trying to do now is, um, we're trying to incorporate also the past topics, no? The earlier topics that we have discussed along with the new ones, no? So right now, we're talking about the asset ceiling, and then it will incorporate it with the employee benefit expense that we have discussed earlier, no? So what is the net remeasurement loss for the current year? What amount should be reported as prepaid benefit cost? So an entity provided the following, alisin ko lang ulit to at medyo nakaka-distract. An entity provided the following information during the year. So we have the fair value of plan assets. So we have beginning and ending balances. Projected benefit obligation. So the difference between these two would be your projected benefit cost or surplus, no? So in this case, surplus 1.5 and 4 million. Asset ceiling, auto class, 1 million beginning and then 2.5 million ending. Effect of asset ceiling is 500,000 and 1,500,000 for beginning and ending balances respectively. During the year, the entity recognized current service costs of 2 million, actual return on plan assets of 400,000 and contribution to the plan of 4,550,000. The benefits paid to retirees is 1,950,000 with the discount rate of 10%. So let's have problem on the asset ceiling. Okay. So class, dito gagawin natin is we'll still follow the template that we have introduced earlier, no? But this time we'll include also the effect of the asset ceiling. Okay? So for the employee benefit expense, so we have the current costs, current service costs of 2 million pesos. That's given. Interest expense, o ito class, alam na natin paano tayo mag-compute niyan, no? So that's 4.5 million PBO multiplied by the discount rate of 10%. No? So that's 450,000. Next, we have the interest income. Interest income, sabi natin, that's fair value of plan assets beginning multiplied by 10%. Ito, medyo paulit-ulit tayo dito, class. No? But at least I hope you can follow. Now, ito yung nadagdag. Interest on the effect of the asset ceiling. How much is the asset ceiling? So, it's 500,000. Doon tayo titingin sa beginning, no? 500,000 multiplied by the discount rate of 10%. So that's 50,000. So just get the sum. So we have 1,900,000 or letter A. Next, let's look at the net remeasurement loss. Okay. So bago yan, let's look at the increase in effect of the asset ceiling without interest muna. So paano yon? How much is the effect of the asset ceiling in this at year end, no? So it's 1.5 million also given, no? Pero kung hindi naman given, we can compute, no, based on the data presented. The effect of AC beginning, so that's 500,000. So just get the difference to get the total increase, no? So in this case, we have a total increase in effect of asset ceiling of 1 million pesos. The interest component, yung na-compute natin kanina, that's 500,000 multiplied by 10% discount rate. So that's 50,000. No? So sabi natin, we have to compute it without the interest. No? So in this case, 1 million less 50,000, the interest component. So we have 950,000. This is the increase in effect without the interest. No? So it's a loss. Okay. So the remeasurement on loss on on the projected on the planned assets, so that's 400,000 less 600,000, so we have 200,000 here. Increase in effect, so that's 950,000, so we have to add it, no? So it's a loss kasi, no? So the remeasurement loss is 200,000 plus 950,000, so we have 1,150,000 net remeasurement loss, or letter A. Tuloy natin. So this time, we have PBO, or your prepaid benefit cost. So requirement number 3, what amount should be reported as prepaid benefit costs as of December 31? Okay, so gawin natin, class, the prepaid benefit costs recognized on January 1 is 1 million. So that's the uh, this is the asset ceiling, no? So we plus any debit adjustment. Itong debit adjustment, class, that's 1,500,000. Paano natin na-compute to? So we have the contribution of 4,550,000 plus the defined benefit cost, no? So itong defined benefit cost, it's simply your 1,900,000 na employee benefit expense plus the remeasurement loss of 1,150,000. So 4,550,000 contribution, which is given in the problem, less the defined benefit cost. No? So in this case, we have a prepaid or debit adjustment of 1,500,000. So hindi pa tayo doon natatapos, class, kasi ang pinapakompute sa atin is the prepaid benefit costs at year end. No? So ito pa lang yung debit adjustment. So we have prepaid benefit costs recognized on January 1 for 1 million pesos plus debit adjustment. No? So ito yung result kanina. So we have a prepaid cost of 1,500,000. So just get the sum to calculate for your prepaid benefit costs recognized on December 31. So that's 2,500,000. Okay, so that's a problem on the asset ceiling. So termination benefits. So benefits provided in exchange for the termination of the employment. So there are different instances in terms of terminating the employment. So number one, entity's decision to terminate. So an employee's employment before the normal retirement date, employee's decision to accept an offer of benefits in exchange for the termination of employment, and then not conditional on providing future services, and then recognize the benefit at the earlier of the following. So either entity can no longer withdraw the offer, or when the entity recognizes the cost of restructuring. Okay, so let's have another problem on the termination of benefit. No? So what are the requirements? What amount should be recognized as termination benefit? And number two, what amount should be recognized as short-term benefit? So an entity is committed to close a factory in 10 months and shall terminate the employment of all the remaining employees of the factory. Under the termination plan, an employee leaving before closure factory shall receive on termination date a cash payment of 20,000 pesos. However, An employee that renders service until closure of the factory shall receive 60,000. So ito yung mga condition class, no? There are 120 employees at the factory. The entity expects 100 employees to leave before closure and 20 employees to render service until closure. So total is 120. Sabi dyan, 100 daw will leave before the closure, and then the another 20, the rest, no, will render service until closure. No? So let's have this problem on the termination benefit. Konti na lang class, no? So stay with me. Okay? So, benefit of employees. So, syempre, compute muna natin for the 100 employees. Kasi sabi natin, 100 employees multiply by, ito, sinortcut ko na lang, but basically this is 20,000. And then yung 20 naman, 60,000. Ito yung, oops, sorry. This is based on the problem, no? So sabi, 100 employees will resign, no? Before the closure. So sabi natin, if they leave before the closure of the factory, they will only receive 20,000. Ngayon, ang projection is 20 will stay until the closure, no? So that's and they will receive 60,000. No? So we'll just get we'll compute for the total benefits, no? So that's 2 million, 100 employees multiplied by 20,000, and then 20 employees multiplied by 60,000. So we get 3,200,000 total benefits. Now, the termination benefit, that's 120 multiplied by 20,000. No? So, we're basically assuming that the full amount. No? So, the total, all the employees will resign before the closure of the factory. No? So that's 120 employees multiplied by 20,000. So we get 2,400,000. This is the termination benefit that we have to recognize. Okay, so that's letter A or requirement number 1. Now for the short-term benefit, short-term benefits, so simply total benefits less your termination benefit. So that's 800,000. No? So another way to compute that is simply 60 employees less the 20 that will 60,000 less 20,000 or equals 40,000 multiplied by 20,000. No? So that's 800,000. No? So kumuha lang tayo ng ratio based on the payment. No? So 60 minus 20 equals 40 multiplied by 20,000 pesos. No? So we get 800,000. No? So either you use this template or simply do the parang shortcut, no? Shortcut way to compute for the short-term benefit. Either way, you'll get the same result, no? So in this case, the answer for requirement number 2 is 800,000 or letter D. So let's have another problem, no, para lang mas maintindihan pa. So let me read the requirements. What amount should be reported as total liability for termination benefits on December 31, 2021? What amount should be reported as termination benefit expense for 2021? So on September 1, 2021, an entity offered special termination benefits to employees who had reached the early retirement age. The termination benefits consisted of lump sum and period future payments. So lump sum payments totaling 475,000 were made January 1, 2022. Periodic payments of 60,000 annually for 3 years will begin January 1, 2023. The present value on December 31, 2021 of these payments was 155,000. Reduction of accrued pension costs on December 31, 2021 was 45,000. So let's have this problem, class. Okay. So the lump sum payment, so let's have requirement one. So requirement one, what amount should be reported as total liability? So how much is the lump sum payment? Total liability as of December 31, 2021 class ha? Kasi as of December 31, 2021, we know how much would be our obligation. No? So ang tinatanong dito is how much is our total obligation? So in this case, we have to include the lump sum payment. Kailan ba babayaran? January 1, 2022. Alam na ba natin yan as of the year end 2021? The answer is yes. So therefore, we have to recognize it as a termination liability. So that's 475,000. Next, the present value of periodic payments. No? So remember, we're going to pay annually for 3 years. No? So how much would be the present value as of year end 2021? No? It's given, it's 155,000. So that's 475,000 plus 155. So we get 630,000 or letter C. Next, what amount should be reported as termination benefit? So termination benefit as of 2021 year end ulit, no? So there are two ways to compute for this. Remember, we have 630,000 total liability for termination benefit. Pero how much ba is the accrued benefit cost? So we have 45,000. So the accrued reduction of accrued benefit pension cost of 45,000. So basically, meron kang total liability of 600,000, 630,000. Nagbayad ka ngayon ng accrued benefit costs mo, 'di ba? Kaya nga reduction of 45,000. So just get the difference, just get the difference. So the difference would be your total termination benefit expense. So that's 585,000 or letter B. Okay, so ito naman class, it's in the form of journal entry. Okay. Okay, so let's go to another topic on employee benefit cost. No? So compensated or paid absences. So pay employees for absences for reasons such as vacation and sickness. So accumulating, so paid absences may be carried forward and can be used in future periods. No? So if it's vesting, so they're entitled to cash payment for unused entitlement on leaving the entity. No? So ganito yan class. Like in private practice na lang. No? So an employee gets SL or VL credits, no? So SL or VL credits. Usually, pag sinasabi natin vesting and accumulating, so any unused VL balance this year can be accumulated to future periods. So for example, meron akong 15 credits, 5 lang yung nagamit ko. So meron ako natirang 10 VL credits. That 10 will be carried forward to next year. So sabihin na natin every year meron akong 15. Nagamit ko yung 5 this year, meron ako naiwan na 10. So that 10 will be added to the 15 credits next year. So my total would be 25. Now, if it's vesting, ang sinasabi dyan is we can receive payment for the remaining unused credits, no, when we leave the company. Now, if it's non-vesting, so we wouldn't be entitled to any of those unused. Kaya ang ginagawa is prior to resigning, ay ginagamit na. Now, if it's non-accumulating, paid absences are not carried forward. So meaning it will expire. So non-cash payment for unused entitlement on leaving the entity. Ato class, it's basically based on company policy, no? So right now in my case, parang sa sa tax, 'di ba? Sa Philippine tax individual taxation. We're entitled to 10, kung di ako nagkakamali, no? 10 credits na non-taxable. Anong ibig sabihin nun? So we get to be pwede tayong bayaran up to 10 days na non-taxable. So, but right now, no, sa previous company ko, maganda, accumulating, tapos at the end of the, uh, pag nag-resign ka, babayaran ka. Ngayon kasi, yung nalipatan kong company, you have to use it, otherwise it will expire. No? So, meron lang nakikarry forward na 5. Pero yung 5 na yun, um, you cannot, paano ba to? Ah, iniisip ko yung policy namin eh. Yung 5 hindi mo siya pwedeng gamitin. You cannot use it. Ulitin ko. You can use it, pero if you can use it and you can also carry it forward it, pero pwede ka lang mabayaran doon at the end of when you resign. Okay? So, hindi gaya nito kasi na ah, hindi gaya nung ibang mga company na at the end of the year, they will pay any of your unused credits or leave credits. No? So, para hindi nakakalito, uh, pag-usapan natin to by way of another problem. No? So, what is the vacation pay expense for the current year? The benefit is accumulating and vesting. So pag-usapan natin, no? An entity reported that the employees are each entitled to 2 weeks of paid vacation leave. During the current year, the employees earned 1,500 weeks of vacation leave and used 1,000 weeks. The current salary of the employees is an average of 3,000 per week, and the salary is expected to increase by 300 pesos per week or a future weekly salary of 3,300. No? So let's have this problem on leave credits. So ito yung medyo exciting pag nag-work ka na, no? So syempre ngayon hindi niyo pa masyadong na-appreciate to, pero once you're in the corporate world, syempre hindi ka naman puro work lang. So you want to take vacation, pero paano kung at the end of the year babayaran ka pala? So baka pwedeng tipirin yung imbes na i-take mo as leave, imbes na magbakasyon ka, ah, gagawin ko is I'll just accumulate it so that at the end of the year, meron akong pera ma-receive. No? So, kung anong klaseng empleyado ka. No? So, in my case kasi, like traveling, as you know, so, madalas nauubos ko yung leave credits ko. Okay? So, ang question lang dito is how much would be the vacation pay expense? So, in this case, the let's compute first, no? Yung 1,000, ito yung natira, multiply by 3,000 pesos, so we have 3 million. At, pero meron din tayong na accumulate, no? Um, So that's 500 multiplied by 3,300. No? So paano natin na-compute yun, class? Sabi, di ba, meron kang 1,500 weeks of vacation. Nagamit mo si 1,000. So itong nagamit mo, it will be based on the current rate. No? So that's 1,000 multiplied by 3,000 pesos per week. Ngayon may natira. So ilan yung natira? 500 weeks. Itong 500 weeks, you have to compute it based on the future weekly salary kasi it's accumulating vesting, so therefore any excess or any unused leave credits will have to be paid at the current or future uh, salary base, no? So kaya maganda rin to kung accumulating and vesting kasi it will be, syempre, hindi naman mag-stay ang sahod mo. Probably yung sahod mo this year would be increased, no? Kung performer ka, if you're hitting all your key performance indicators, kung bibo ka, no? Uh, Therefore, you'll get salary review, no? So may increase ka. So in this case, may increase sila. So from 3,000 nagiging 3,300. No? So therefore, we have to accrued for that. No? So that's 500 multiplied by 3,300. So therefore, just get the two. Uh, that's 3 million plus 1,650,000. So we get 4,650,000. The answer is letter C. Let's have another problem, no? So on uh, vacation leave. At year-end, what amount should be reported as liability for compensated absences? No, an entity has an obligation relating to employees' rights to receive compensation for future absences attributed to employee services already rendered. The obligation relates to rights that vest and payment of the compensation is probable. The obligations at year-end are reasonably estimated. Ito na class. The vacation pay is 1.1 million. Sick pay is 900,000. Ito class, um, as you know, it met all the necessary uh, criteria for us to recognize it as a liability. So in this case, vacation pay and sick pay of 900,000, just get the sum. That will be your total liability for compensated absences, or 2 million. Letter B. Another problem. So the requirement is at year end, what amount of liability for compensated balances is required to be reported? An entity is an employee benefit plan for compensated absences that gives employees 10 paid vacation days and 10 paid sick days. So ito parang ganito yung sa amin. Both vacation and sick days can be carried over indefinitely. Employees can elect to receive payment in lieu of vacation days. However, no payment is given for sick days not taken. O ito class, especially for sick days. Kung hindi ka naman for sick leave, kung hindi ka nagkakasakit, at the end of the year, it will expire. No? So at year end, the unadjusted balance of liability for compensated absences was 210. The entity estimated that there were 150 vacation days and 75 sick days available at year end. The employees earn an average of 1,000 pesos per day. At year end, what amount of liability for compensated absences is required to be reported? No? So let's have this final problem. No? So sabi natin, vacation leave, it is accumulating and vesting. Sick leave, accumulating and non-vesting. So therefore, how much would be the total liability? It's simply 150 multiplied by 100. Paano natin na-compute yung 150? Class, we're just computing for uh, hindi 100, 1,000. Yan. Ayusin ko to. Dahil nga yung sick leave nag-expire, we will need to recognize only the vacation days. So in this case, 150 vacation days multiplied by 1,000 pesos or 150,000. So letter D. Ulitin ko to class ha, medyo tricky to. The problem said that the sick leave, ito, however, no payment is given for sick days not taken. So kung may natira pa, 75 sick days pa yung available, hindi yan babayaran. It will expire. So anong ginagawang diskarte? No? So dinidiskarte yan. Pero ito, uh, well, it's again, it depends on the company policy. Also depends on your how you communicate with your manager. No? So in my case kasi I handled I handle uh paano ba about 50 people in my team, no? So around that much, no? So I know for sure that there are people taking sick days na hindi naman talaga sila sick, no? And since our policy is to expire any remaining sick days, sick leave at the end of the year, eh, hinahayaan na natin yun. No? So, nasa pag-uusap. Anyway, so I think that's it. No? So that's all for the employee benefit cost. Medyo mahaba yung discussion class, pero I hope you're able to pick no at least yung mga important concepts, no. So please make sure to go back to the recording. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to send me an email, no. So that would be all for today. Stay safe and stay healthy. I'll see you again next session. Ingat kayo, class.